So happy to have you on Dina Six TV, Barbara Sammeth. Yeah, you look beautiful, honey.
Thank you, sweetheart. What do we say? The home quarantine has been very, very good for me.
Oh yeah, you're being facetious?
No, I'm not. I
Okay.
worked a lot of things. I needed this time.
I see.
Time to just kind of go introspective and work through things that I've been, as you know,
Sure.
going through since Billy passed. And
I know.
been very, very healthy. Very healthy.
I know. Your brother Billy Sammeth. I love the Andy Warhol Billy in the background. And I'm sure that was his personality.
Yeah, totally. He's on his phone the whole time. You just take the photo. That's it. Laughing on the phone. That's Billy.
You and I spoke a couple of times, and the tidbits that you told me about Hollywood and things like that. I said, one of these days I'm going to have Barbara on my show. And then here you are. Fantastic. I got to watch a few of your things, Married with Children, which was hysterical and would never get away with it.
Oh my God. How did you find that?
I found it and I could
play that's one of the classics.
These shoes, my friend, are worth a lot of money.
Yeah, right. These shoes cost less than $20 back then.
I know those shoes. They were called Foxy Ladies. I'll give you $200 for those. What'll I pay?
Jefferson, $100 each.
So, Pam Grier.
Yeah, Stand Alone, a movie I did with Charlie Durning.
It was great. I watched the whole thing and I thought you were fabulous. What were you, 25 years old in that movie?
I don't even remember, but I have stories about all of them.
What happens to you if you study real hard and do all your homework?
I don't want to be a girl.
So what are you doing?
Fixing my tank.
Yeah, come on. It's time for you to clean your room before we go, huh?
Oh, hell.
What did you say? What did you say? What did he say?
I didn't hear it.
No, sure. Come on.
Oh my God, it was like 1985.
The first movie was Mad Room. Winters and Stella Stevens.
Oh my God, I didn't get to watch that one yet, but I'm going to watch that one next. It was 1969. When did you decide to be an actress?
When I came out of the womb.
When you came out of the womb, exactly.
Yeah, early on in Brooklyn, I went and auditioned for the Brooklyn Academy of Music, and I was too young.
Wow.
You had 15, I think, and I took a bus and I went there. It was for Ado Annie in Oklahoma.
Wow.
I must have looked 12, forget about 16.
Yeah.
And when I got there, they said, "How old are you?" And I said, 16. But I sang, and they must have not cared. They said, "Okay, you're hired." So that was my first gig, and I was a baby. I mean, I hadn't even really done any theater or anything. I don't know. I just sang. I had a great singing voice in those days, and I was funny. I mean, I didn't even start acting lessons then. I was living in Brooklyn.
Wow.
So then my dad was with Disney, and we were transferred to Los Angeles.
Right.
Billy, myself, my brother Billy Sammeth, myself, my mom and dad. And my dad got me with an acting coach. What a character, Nina Moise. And I was very, very young, and she was some big acting coach with Disney. My father must have said to them, "Who do I take my daughter to?" And I remember being in, it was the strangest dark room in a Hollywood house. And I would be working with her, and she would get phone calls. This is how long ago it was, from Carol Baker, who was doing Baby Doll.
Wow.
She said, "I have just a minute, darling, just a minute. I've got to take this call from Carol." And she would say, "It's okay, relax, don't worry about it." And she would talk to her while I'm sitting there. But I remember that was Carol Baker calling her.
Wow.
She must, who knows what the hell was going on.
Hey, come over here. I want to talk to you. Sit down. Now, what's this about you leaving?
I want to take a ride along the coast, and then I have to get back to the city. Now, don't worry. I promise I'll be here for your wedding.
You better. I need you. So, what's going on tonight?
Oh, nothing special. I'm going to go to a movie.
By yourself?
Yes.
Gloria, this has got to stop. Just because you've had one bad experience doesn't mean that you give up.
I haven't given up. I came to this party, didn't I?
Oh, ever since the divorce, you lock yourself in that library and hide behind those glasses. Look at you. He used to be a cheerleader. He used to show some cleavage. What? Let's see some skin, shake your booty, take some chances.
Hugh O'Brien Acting Awards. Hugh O'Brien. But it was a big deal for UCLA because he was going to try to help new and upcoming actors get their start. So it was a $500 award. Colin Higgins, who wrote Harold and Maude and Silver Streak and play 9 to 5, saw me in a play in the theater with John Rubinstein called 1,000 Clowns. He came up to me after that play and he said, he was very shy. He was a grad student. I was undergrad. He was very shy. He said, I'm in the film department. My name is Colin, and I'm going to be doing my project 1, and I'd like you to be in it. And I was like, and that film won all student film awards. It was hysterical. And then I was going to be up for doing this scene for the Hugh O'Brien Awards. And I was going to sing. And the teachers, they were so supportive of me, all the professors. And they said, Barbara, that's not your strong suit. Your strong suit is comedy. Do comedy. So I chose something called The Unexpected Memoirs of Arnold Mergendiler or something like that. And it was a sex scene. And I asked Colin to be in it with me. And he said, I'm not an actor anymore. I said, really? You better do this with me or I'm not doing your project 1.
There you go, buddy.
Oh, right. So he did, but he read it and he was a fabulous writer and actor and director. And he looked at it and he said, look, this isn't heavily weighted enough for you. You need a monologue, couple of monologues. I'll write them for you.
Wow.
So he did. He wrote me 2 monologues for that. I brought my bed from home.
Wow.
Because they didn't have a bed. I brought my bed from home with a raked up on the stage. And I remember saying to him, you're going to bring my bed from home? And he said in front of all the other contestants, $500 in your pocket and you're worrying about where you're going to sleep? I won.
Of course you won.
And that year, Hugh wasn't there to give out the award. It was Charlton Heston, Walter Matthau.
Wow.
Greer Garson, Monique James. I did the scene in a slip and I came out in a bathrobe to accept my award. But in the audience were all these PR people and agents and producers and directors. It was filled. It was an audience night by invite only.
Wow.
And afterwards, I started getting calls from all these different agents to meet with them. Now, mind you, I'm still a junior in college. I've done nothing.
Wow.
So I met with some of the big agencies. Annette Funicello's husband, Jack Gilardi, was one of the top in the city. And there was a guy from the Kurt Frings agency, very small boutique agency in Beverly Hills. At the time, they had Elizabeth Taylor and Audrey Hepburn. And the guy that saw me brought me up there and I met with Kurt. It was a very small office. There were 3 agents only. And Kurt said, look, you're not going to get the attention in those great big agencies that you'll get here. We're going to make you the new Audrey Hepburn. Well, she was my idol.
Wow.
And I thought, I'm going with them. So I did. 2 weeks later, maybe a month, they had me audition. Actually, they had me audition for 2 movies. One with Roz Russell that was called The Nun or something. It was kind of a comedy. And the other was The Mad Room. And
The Mad Room's definitely not a comedy.
no,
No.
I looked so young. I was supposed to be playing 16, but I looked still so young. Anyway, they cast me.
Wow.
And I didn't know how to read a script. I didn't know how to do anything. And they sent me on location to Vancouver. Daily log was slipped under my door and it said tomorrow, scene 72. I looked on page 72. My scene wasn't there.
Right.
I knock on
great
Michael
work.
Burns'
Wow.
my brother, and I said, Michael, I need help. He said, well, I said, we're not in scene 72. We're not in page 72. He said, no, it's scene 72. I said, where is it? He shows me, it was like on page 25. then I kept seeing, my name was Mandy in the movie. And I remember we would go out to dinner after. It was Severin Darden, Shelley didn't come out to dinner, but she was wonderful to me. Stella, Carol Cole, all these amazing people. And I remember saying to the director one night at dinner, I said, his name was Barney Gerard. I said, Barney, it keeps saying in the script, Mandy's Pav. And I don't know if it's a prop or something, but I never got it. Well, I was the butt of the jokes for the entire rest of the shoot in Vancouver. Excuse me, everybody. The very famous actress who won the Hugh O'Brien Award never got her Mandy's Pav. Does anyone know where it is?
Oh my God.
Mandy's point of view. Mandy's point of view. It's what I was seeing.
Your point of view.
I thought it was a prop. I thought it was a prop. It kept saying Mandy's Pav.
Oh,
Anyway, it was a very difficult shoot. He was an alcoholic, raging alcoholic. Shelley, although she was wonderful to me. And she was drinking pretty good on it, but he was drinking, I think, even more.
wow.
And we had one scene outdoors. It was very, very hot. By this point, we were shooting in Pasadena, in an old house in Pasadena. And we were outdoors. And I don't know if anybody will remember, but the older actresses used to wear these plastic tabs here
Yeah.
and it went around the back of their head. They put them on with glue.
Yeah.
Well, I was in the makeup room with her. I never saw those things. Here, I wish I had it now. It's very
No,
good.
Stop
Here
it.
and here. So we're sitting outside. It's hot. Shelley wasn't as big, but she was big. She's sweating profusely. We're doing the scene. I'm sitting, she's at the head. I'm sitting to her right. And all of a sudden, one side of her face completely fell. I thought she had a stroke. One of those tabs came loose.
Oh, shit.
She's like this, and all of a sudden she's like this. Brian, get over here. That was the makeup man. I'm a baby. I'm like, I really thought, oh my God, Shelley Winters just had a stroke.
Oh my God, Barb.
Anyway, she
Wow.
ordered Shelley off the set when she was done. The director did. And Shelley called me and she said, to do all my off camera. I had done her off camera. And she called me and she said, Barbara, he can't do that. If you want me to come back to do your off camera shots with you, I will do that. And Barney must have found out. And he said, you bring her back to this set and I will cut every single one of your scenes with her.
Wow.
So what could I do? I did the scenes with Howard, the script boy. He talked like this. He would smoke a cigar. And I was like doing my scenes with Shelley with this guy that talked like this.
How did you learn your lines so fast, Barb? How did you learn your lines? How'd you learn to, did you just plow in?
Yeah, in those days, I really had a photographic memory.
Right.
Now I have no memory,
Wow.
but in those days, I basically could look at a script and just know them.
Wow.
And I have a trick too that I've used in theater. If I ever get to a place where there's kind of a difficult word or a difficult line,
Mhm.
I write it on an imaginary blackboard
Wow.
and then I read it. And also often I would write out my lines in longhand myself.
Right.
Other times I would use a tape. So I would have the other person's lines with a space, then I'd say mine.
Mm.
And I used to do that certainly with plays, and I would play it in my car. The other person's line would be there, then I'd say mine.
Yeah.
So I have little tricks like that I used to use.
Wow.
But
Sorry, I threw you off track. But now we're back at the. I was interested to know how you met.
so I went to the opening. We
Yeah,
had the
went to the opening.
violence committee on the set then, because there were violent films being done like Straw Dogs.
Wow.
And they were clamping down on violence in films.
Mm.
And Rayford Johnson, was he a football player? I don't even know. but he came to the set and he would say, I'm sorry, cut. There's violence in that scene. You can't use it. And we'd be on the set rewriting the script and Barney would say, okay, say this, then you say that, you say this, okay, go.
Wow.
So it wasn't even the script that I had been working on learning the scene.
Right. What studio, Barb? Where was it being shot?
Columbia.
Yeah, the old Columbia.
And they actually had me under contract to Columbia Screen Gems. And it was in transition. There were a lot of things that went on. It was right after that. David Beagleman had been known to steal all those, the residuals and stuff. One day on the set, a big limo arrived. This was in Pasadena. We're back from Vancouver. And they said, Barbara Sammeth, they'd like you to take that limo and go to the main office at Columbia, which was on Sunset and Gower. We were in Pasadena.
Yeah.
Still in costume. I said, okay, but no, that's okay. Just get in that car. So I get in this big black limo by myself in the back, and they take me to Columbia's Screen Gems, and they take me to this man's office. I want to say his name was Daniel or David, I can't remember, but he was a bigwig. He was a president. They take me in there. I'm in my little costume from whatever I was doing that day. And I sit across, I felt about this big, like Eloise. And I sit way across, and there's this great big desk, and there's this man opposite, and he said, hi, Barbara, it's so nice to meet you. We understand that you get along with Shelley Winters. What is your secret? That's why they took me to the sit. Can you imagine?
Wow, makes no sense. That is so like conspiracy. I love it.
They were having trouble with her because she was drinking and fighting. And I said, well, I just really like her. We talk and we ask each other about what's going on. And I don't even remember now, Dina, what I said. It was so shocking. He said, well, thank you very much. We're very happy to have you on this shoot. I'm back in the limo and back to the set. During the filming, I was written up in the rag magazines. I mean, some things came out after I won the Hugh O'Brien Awards. They said that funny lady gets a big job. And Dorothy Manners, she was also one of the judges with Monique James from Universal. Dorothy Manners. That funny girl gets a big job. And they wrote up a wonderful review that there are very few really, really pretty, funny ladies. Lucille Ball is one. Like, wow, that I'd gone with Kurt Frings, and I was the new young Audrey Hepburn. I did have an interview with Mel Ferrer, and I remember going in and he said, what? They were divorced already. But I remember him saying to me, wow, you look so much like my ex-wife. And I had very dark hair then, very, very dark, with a lot of red in it and great big brown eyes.
Oh, you did.
And she was my idol. So, but I remember going, and I was written up in Rag magazine, like an Inquirer or something, into the set crying. They said I had slept with Hugh O'Brien to get this job, which had nothing. I did the Hugh O'Brien Awards. I won that who the hell knows? And I remember coming into the makeup room and I was crying, and Shelley was there, and she said, darling, what's the matter? And I said, oh my God, they just wrote me up in this Inquirer, and they said that I slept with Hugh O'Brien to get this job. She goes, did they spell your name right?
Right. Wow. You made it, baby.
She said, that's all you need to worry about. Anything that's written about you, just make sure they spell your name correctly.
What was next? What did you do after that?
I was so freaked out by all the alcohol on the set.
Yeah.
Barney was yelling at me all the time. Harry Stradling Jr., whose father was the cinematographer for Marilyn Monroe, said, Barney, if you don't get off her back, I'm shutting down this set. It was that daily. After that, I was so freaked out. I thought, that's what Hollywood is. I get written up for things I never did. Paparazzi are following me around. I don't like that. I lose my anonymity and being able to go out. And people are screaming and yelling, I'm out of here. So I did what any very smart actress does. I moved to New York and got married.
Right. Oh, Barb.
At that time, though, I still had this guy, John Crosby at Kurt Frings, and he became a big manager. Lynn Stallmaster, who just passed away, big casting director,
Mm.
was so supportive of me.
Wow.
And the movie Fiddler on the Roof was being done. So John called me in New York and he said, Lynn Stallmaster would like you to come in and audition for Chava, the youngest one.
Wow.
And I said, okay, I'm there. So I came back, I auditioned for Chava, sang, did the whole thing. Great, great, great. We'll let you know. Well, I wasn't going to hang around. I was married. So I went back to New York. John Crosby calls me again. They don't really think you're right for Chava, but they'd like you to come back and audition for Huddle. That's the middle one. I fly back to LA. I auditioned for Huddle. I don't remember if I stayed or not. And I can't remember if I came back a third time. But what happened was they felt I was too old for Chava and too young for Huddle. Typical, right?
Yeah.
So I did,
What are they, a year apart? I mean, how is that possible?
2 years apart. I
2
don't know.
years.
But another one happened. They were doing True Grit. And this was before Fiddler on the Roof. And Kim Darby was supposed to do it. But Kim Darby, she was a very well-known actress in the 70s, had a baby. And she was in the hospital still. She had some postpartum and she was in the hospital still. So my agents say, they'd like to see you for the lead opposite John Wayne in True Grit.
Wow.
Okay. I never saw the whole script. They'd maybe send me the sides. I don't remember. But in those days, my agent drove me to the auditions.
Really? Wow.
He'd say, I don't want you going on your own. He didn't want any funny business happening.
Wow.
So he'd always have me, he said, you come to my apartment, park here, go over your lines, and then I'll take you. Who does that? So
Wow.
I go and I meet with the casting director who likes me very much and takes me in to meet Hal Wallace, who was a big, big, big producer, but I had no idea who he was. I'm a baby.
Right.
I go in his office and he said, well, I understand you did a really, really good reading and would you do it for me? And I said, sure. So I do the reading. He said, that's very good. And I said, well, is there anything, I was so fearless. Is there anything else you'd like me to do? What else would you like to do? Would you like me to do a monologue for you? He said, you want to do one right now? I said, sure. He said, go for it. I stand up, I turn around like I used to learn in acting school.
Right.
And I come back and I do Molly Brown. Ain't nothing gonna say me I'm down till I say so too. Well, I did the whole thing for him. He was dumbstruck. He said, thank you very much. He called my agent in and apparently he said, we'll be in touch with you later today. He called my agent and said, she's got the part. Well, when Kim Darby's agent found out, he went up to that hospital and he said, you better get out of that hospital bed because you're about to lose the biggest part in your life. And she did.
Get
Barbara
the hell
Sammeth
out of
Get
here.
Darby in.
Wow. Barb.
Yeah.
What a,
And then later on, I did go with that agent. And I said, Jim, you better really work hard for me because you had me lose the biggest part of my life.
oh my God.
And she was terrific. This is so ego. I almost have trouble watching it because I know what I would have done with it. The other thing in those days, I was fearless.
Hmm.
Even when people, you know, when I came back after New York and a lot of people didn't know me, even though I went on, I had no money. I didn't ask for any alimony. That's not my style.
Right.
So,
Mobster? No, I'm teasing. Go ahead.
what?
You know, your ex-husband's name is this famous mobster.
Well, he went on to be a very, very, very wealthy man. And I used to kid him, I'd call him and say, hi, Jimmy, how you doing? He'd say, I'm doing really well. I said, yeah, I know. Now can you pay me alimony? It was so New York. He said, what, do you need money? I'll give you money. But I went on to do commercials. And I remember somebody saying to me, you know, it's going to be very, very hard. You know, people just don't break into the commercial business. It's very competitive. I said, really? Watch me. I was always that way, defiant, like watch me. So somebody gave me the name of an agency. I went in, they hired me. They signed me that day. They told me to take some photos, which I did. I think again, about 2 weeks later, I got my first commercial. Who was it with? Farrah Fawcett. Walked on the set and I thought, I am never going to work in this town again. She is the most perfect, gorgeous thing I've ever met in my life. She just gotten engaged. It was for Continental Airlines. I went on to make over 250 commercials, not including the voiceovers and animation. It was a great way for me to make enough money to be able to do what I wanted. I could go off and do theater, which pays nothing. Do things I really wanted to do. People say, what commercials have you done? I said, well, if you've used it on your hair, under your arms, swept your floor with it, or fed it to your dog, I sold it to you. So we're out Screen Gems in the Valley, shooting there, and it was for Chevy, and it was supposed to be a young troupe of actors showing what you put on the car, what you put in the car. And I made the mistake of asking the ad agency. I said, how could I make on a commercial like this? Because it's what they called a Class A, which was coast to coast. And he said, a commercial like this, Chevy, ball games, and he said, probably around 20 grand. And I went out and started spending the money. I went to Hawaii.
Went to Hawaii.
I went to New York. Packed up my stuff from my husband's, where I lived before. I went to Hawaii. I started shopping. I need clothes. I need this. I need that. I come back and one of my friends that was in the shoot said, did you hear what happened to the Chevy commercial? I said, no. She said, they scrapped it. And I said, what does that mean? She said, they scrapped it. What does that mean, scrapped it? She said, they can't use it. I said,
Oh my God.
but it was the best lesson I ever got. Because I knew after that, never spend more than what you made on that day after taxes. And I never did. More films and TV started coming in. One of the things I did was The Devil's Daughter, which Colin wrote, Paramount, and that was with Shelley and Belinda Montgomery.
Did you hear that?
Maybe they've come to rescue.
Oh, take me first, Pat Well. Take me.
Oh, thank God. We were stranded in our car. We saw the chimney.
Someday for a drive. My wife is pregnant.
Oh, I was hoping she was hoarding food.
When I heard a storm was coming, I wanted to get in town just in case she went into labor. We were almost up to the house when the snow gave way and we dropped into your tunnel.
When do you do?
In 2 weeks.
Oh, good, then there's time.
Not a lot. I'm in labor now.
Oh, well, let's get her into the bedroom so she can lie down.
Oh, you poor thing.
I know. I want you to know, Marvin, I'm not going to forget all this.
I didn't know what to do.
Didn't know what to do. You were full of ideas 9 months ago.
As I would get older and more rejection and more auditions that I knew I was right for and I didn't get, fear started to creep in. I started to feel maybe I'm really not that good. Maybe I really should be doing something else. And all that bravado and no fear and the joy of auditioning, I started a little by little shut down fear. And I thought, uh-oh, what if I don't do it right? What if I don't do all that stuff that was not there at the beginning? So most of the time they got something in mind and you either walk in and you're it or you're not. But that was not my experience early on. There was a long time where I thought I can change their minds. I don't know what they're looking for, but I'm going to make them think it's me. I remember once auditioning for Any Wednesday and very early on, my first equity gig. And I went in and I said, okay, I'm here. They said, what do you want to audition for? I said, Ellen in Any Wednesday. They said, well, we're terribly sorry that role has been cast. I said, really? You made a big mistake. I'm Ellen. I don't know that I ever would have done that. As it turned out, the girl that was cast got a big movie gig. They called me and they said, will you audition again? And I did, and I got it.
Wow.
But I mean, when they said that, I'm sorry, that's been cast. I wouldn't do that today. You've made a big mistake.
Wow.
So that fear starts to creep in after you've had enough rejection
Yeah.
after 20 something years.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think what happened was in 2009, I got a pilot for Disney. It was called Jack and Janet Save the Planet. And by this point, I'd been doing so many voiceovers and crazy animation. I mean, I was doing, I had a casting director said, oh no, my agent said to me, you know what? You're crazy enough that you're actually gonna make a living on animation. Because I do voices like that. Yeah. I went to this audition and she was supposed to be an aging, get this, an aging, suntanned, old Miami Beach woman. I wasn't even living here then. But I thought, okay, she's got Mocha's voice and she's got kind of that red hair. And she had a dog named Butterscotch in the scene. So I rolled up a towel, a white towel, made little ears and put it in a purse. I did my hair kind of crazy, really up high.
Yeah.
And a lot of makeup, a lot of rouge. And I put on this accent, you know, like this. And I pulled the dog out and the whole thing. So I remember coming out of that audition, my chutzpah was back.
So happy.
I remember coming out of that audition, my agent called me, she said, how did it go? I said, how did it go? If they don't cast me, they're out of their fucking minds.
Love it.
And I got it.
Amazing.
And the first day on the producers wanted to meet me for something. They always call me in to meet me. I'm not quite sure. And I went up like this because I wasn't in costume yet. I'm sitting out in the hall and Billy Van Zandt was the producer and for Disney. I'm sitting out in the hall and he sends someone out and he said, find Barbara Sammeth. The guy comes out and he looks around. He said, she's not there. So Billy comes out. He's the brother of the guy on Sopranos, Van Zandt. Billy comes out and he looks, he goes, Barbara Sammeth? I said, yeah, that's me. He said, this is you? Where's the whole accent and everything? I said, it's called acting. I wish I had a copy of that one. It was hysterical.
Oh.
Right after that, I moved to Miami because I was going to do TV here. And right after I got here, one after another, they got canceled. And then I stayed, as you know.
Yeah. Wow. Oh, so you had every intent to continue in the Miami scene.
That's the only reason I came here.
Right. I wasn't sure.
A friend of mine said, I know this big casting director there. I think you'd be terrific. Go meet her. I did. She said, I really think you could work here. You're so different from everybody. You got that right. And she said, but you're going to need agents here. I said, mate, can you recommend anyone? She gave me some piece of paper, highlighted two. I called them both. I went and met them both. They both signed me. Stellar and Peggy at Runways. And then nothing. And I'm not Latina. You know, they want bilingual or something. So,
oh my God, it's all on
and yeah. And then my agents in LA said, well, why don't you just come home? I said, well, I kind of like it here. And I've been here 9 years and I haven't worked again.
Wow.
Now I'm thinking about what's next.
Oh, do it, Barb. Do it. I mean, you look phenomenal. You're such a natural. My God, you just have so much wisdom and talent.
Maybe I have to wait until I'm in my 80s, Dina. You know, when all the rest of them die off.
Like crazy.
My agents always say, Barb, age up. And I do nothing. I mean, this is like, you know.
No auditions at all in 9 years?
I had a couple. My agent in LA, it's so different now. You know, I had my headshot.
Yeah.
Somebody would give me the script or the sides. I'd drive myself to the studio. Yeah. I'd audition for the casting director. If they liked me, they brought me to the director or producers. Totally different. Everything is here in Miami. A couple of things. I took my iPad and did a home audition.
It's all home now. It's completely different. But I'm sure if you were in New York and LA, after this apocalypse, I'm sure you would just such a
I
renaissance for
don't know.
Barbara Sammeth.
Everything is digital now. Every
All
it's
digital.
submission, it's
Yeah.
all digital. The photos, the auditions, you do your own auditions. It's all
all
very, very
self-paced.
new for me.
Yeah.
You
But-
know, I mean, I started when I was 16 years old,
Wow, Barbara.
and the whole industry is different.
How's everybody? How's almost post-COVID? How we doing over there in Miami?
In Miami, there
Yeah.
is no COVID. There never was any COVID. It didn't exist. It's all, everything on the news is fake.
Yeah.
Everybody here is totally day as normal. No mask. Everything's open.
Wow.
Break now. All the kids are in the, you know, on Collins and on, it's quite amazing. The one state in the entire union where COVID didn't come. The
I know.
hospitals
You guys are so lucky. Oh, the hospitals are full. I know. My God. The cemeteries are full.
Yeah, the hospitals are full. And but anyway, I came in, one of my doctors said, Barbara, you know, I think you ought to might take this time and just go in. That was March 12th. I said, what?
Wow.
And
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
And then the next day, Broadway shut down pretty much.
Yeah.
And then little by little, everything else started to shut down.
Yeah.
But I miss Broadway terribly. I mean, that
Oh,
was
wow.
always my, to go to New York and just see one show after another.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
It's still
some-
closed. So
They're opening up in LA. The sets are opening up. They're being very, very safe. They do all the COVID testing.
yeah.
And I
Yeah.
have friends who actually have been working there on series or, yeah.
Oh, I'm
So in the meantime, we'll see. You know, I think life is going to be very different for a very long time.
Yeah.
But I think we will adjust. I do think in the industry, I think they'll learn how to do it.
Yeah. I believe so too. I believe so too. Well, my
So
daughter,
now that, am I going to go to LA? Am I going to go to New York? I don't know. I mean,
yeah. Well,
basically
I
now,
hope that you continue to work because I you know, I love your work and you're so talented and it's if it's your time to do, I hope that you do, you know, take that next step. If not, then, you know, hey, your career has been illustrious. You had that, your brother Billy, you've met everybody and their mother, you know, and you have a wonderful life. So, you know.
fabulous. I mean, I have
Yeah.
had really between Colin and my brother and me,
Yeah.
I have had the biggest life.
Yeah,
I regret nothing,
Nothing.
not 1 second.
exactly. Bravo, my darling.
I'm in a very, very good place.
I'm so
Thanks,
glad.
Dean. I love you.
So glad. I love you too, honey.
Thanks for asking me.
Thank you
This
so
was
much
fun.
for coming on. I've been waiting for this forever.
Thank
I'll
you,
see
my love.
soon. Bye.